Beyond the Red House, where we turn trauma into triumph and pain into purpose. I'm Kayla Volturno, author of I Was Once the Girl in the Red House, and I believe in the power of authentic healing stories. This is a space where your voice matters, your story heals, and your journey inspires others to break their own cycles. Whether you're just beginning your healing or years into building your new life, you belong here. Let's explore what it means to move beyond the red houses that hurt us and build the lives we actually deserve. Welcome to Beyond the Red House. I'm Kayla Volturno, and today we're diving deep into one of the hardest decisions anyone can make. And that's cutting contact with a toxic parent. I'm going to share with you the unexpected tool that became my lifeline through my own journey, writing letters I never sent. This is a story about choosing healing over hoping and finding your voice when someone has tried to silence it, and about the courage it takes to put yourself first for once. If you've ever struggled with a toxic family relationship, if you've ever been told, but that's your mother or father when you tried to set boundaries, or if you've ever felt like you're going crazy in your own family, this episode is definitely for you. Let me start with something that happens to me all the time. I will be in a casual conversation with someone and they ask about my family. At first, that used to make me go, oh, great. They're going to want to know about my mother. How am I going to do this? I would mention that I had been no contact with my mother for now over a decade. I would always get that dreaded response. First comes the immediate shock, but that's your mother. Then, of course, the guilt trip. You only get one mother in your life. And you know what? This reaction used to catch me completely off guard. Even though I knew it was coming, I would hope it wasn't. And in the early days of my no contact journey, I would feel myself getting defensive, like I had to justify my decision to prioritize my happiness and safety to a complete stranger. But now, after 13 years of being no contact, I've learned something important. People's reactions never get easier. But one day, something just clicked in my brain, and I just stopped caring about what others thought about my situation. They never lived it. It's your situation. They don't know what you went through, right? But here's the thing. People don't understand unless they've lived it themselves. And going no contact isn't just some modern trend or an act of rebellion. It's not something people do lightly or even for attention. Going no contact is the last resort. And I know that. That was my last resort. And let me say this again because it's so important. No one wants to cut their own parent out of their life. People do it because no matter how many chances you give that person, nothing changes. The parent continues to disrespect boundaries, show no genuine respect for their child, and they refuse to acknowledge the harm they caused in the past and in the present. They refuse to acknowledge the harm they've caused and make every interaction about their own needs. For me, the decision to go no contact didn't happen overnight. It was a long time coming. I kept hoping, kept trying, kept giving chances. I thought maybe if I explained things differently, how I felt, or maybe if I was more patient with her, that maybe she would finally understand. When I finally made that decision, that final decision to go no contact, I decided to do what I always do, and I decided to write. I decided to send her one last letter. I poured my heart into it, explaining how I felt about her and how she hurt me recently and throughout my whole life. I thought maybe, just maybe, this would be the moment she finally got it. But what did I get in return? No apology, nothing but gaslighting and blaming me for everything that had gone wrong. And that's when I realized talking to her was pointless. Talking to her was just the same as talking to a brick wall. We were just going in circles like we always had, and she always had to have that final say. That letter taught me something. Some people will never give you the response you need or deserve. But that's where my healing journey began. I made the decision that changed everything. And then I decided to start writing letters and never sending them to her. Now I've been writing these unsent letters for the past 13 years, and I have to tell you, they became my lifeline. I was 19 years old when my mom and I became no contact. I just became an adult and trying to navigate all the huge life changes I was going through. I graduated college. I met my now husband, fell in love, got married, had children, and all those big moments I thought of her. Well, I thought of the person I wished she was, and how all my friends had their moms during the biggest moments of their lives. So I would write to her, usually on those days, late at night, 1 a.m. in the morning, crying usually, typing on my phone notepad, just wondering why she had to be the way that she is and why she couldn't be there for me the way I needed a mother to be there for me. And that's the hardest thing, is no one talks about those big moments, how you'll feel when you're getting married and your mom's not there, or when you finally start your own family and you just gave birth to your first child and you're sitting there looking at this beautiful baby, wondering why my mother doesn't feel the same love I feel when I look into my daughter's eyes. Those letters were my way of having conversations that I'd never have, even if she was in my life, because they wouldn't go that way. And it's my way of saying everything that she would have just twisted or used against me if I actually sent them. I would let myself cry at night and feel all the pain, everything. And I would just write. Sometimes I'd be up at 2 a.m. rocking my baby, writing through tears, processing what it meant to become a mother while grieving the mother I never had. Or if I had a hard day, maybe I'd seen people with their moms, or holiday was coming up, or again, a big life moment, I'd find myself writing again. These letters became so crucial to my healing. Instead of what I usually did, push down those feelings until I exploded, I I was finally putting pain into words. So, why do unsent letters work so well when you're dealing with toxic family members? When you're dealing with narcissistic parents or a toxic family member, actual communication is near impossible. They gaslight you, they deflect, they turn everything back on you. They make you question your own reality. I know for me, I used to say all the time, this is going to show my age, am I unpunked? I need cameras to prove that you just said what you just said. But my letters, those unsent letters, they can't manipulate those. Those are yours. In these letters, you get to say exactly what you mean without an interruption, without a but no, this, and you can express your anger without facing retaliation. You could finally, all that anger deep down inside of you, put into words. You get to tell your truth without it being twisted, and you can call them out on their behavior without it turning into a 3-hour argument where you somehow end up apologizing at the end. And it makes you walk away with that what just happened feeling. And maybe, most importantly, you can finally feel heard, even if it's just by yourself. You know what's the hardest part of going no contact was for me? It wasn't cutting the contact. It was learning how to live without that hope that she would finally wake up one day and change. What no one tells you about having a toxic parent is you spend years holding on to this fantasy version of them, of the parent who might one day apologize, who might one day see how much they hurt you, or maybe one day they'll become that parent you've always dreamed they would be, the one you've needed your whole life. But going no contact, it means letting go of that fantasy forever. And that grief is real. And many people don't understand, but it is grief. You're not just grieving the relationship you had. You're grieving that relationship you'll never have. And when people think of grief, they think of, well, so-and-so passed away, I'm sad, I have to go through the grief stages. No one talks about the pain of being no contact and grieving a parent that is still alive. You know that they're out there. You know that they're doing stuff with their lives, but they're no longer in your life. I, for the longest time, would hold on to that part, the fact that she's still out there, and I would wonder, does she think about me? Does she even care what I'm doing with my life? And holding on to that part of me, it took a long time for me to realize that even though she's alive and doing her own thing, that I am grieving a parent that I never had, and a parent I wanted so badly as a little girl doesn't exist. And I think that was the hardest part for me. But what I learned is that going no contact saved me. I felt safe. I felt that I could become the person that I've always wanted to be. Because no longer did I have to be the person that she wanted me to be. I thought it would break me. I thought I needed her. But it turns out she always needed me more than I needed her. And I always was told that I was weak by her. But going no contact showed me how strong I am. And if you've gone no contact, you understand. You are so strong. No one can take that away from you. And I am grateful that I found the courage to make that choice, and you should be as well. It's such a taboo topic, and it shouldn't be. Just because they're blood doesn't make them family. And that is the hardest lesson of all I've learned. Is just because she's my mother doesn't mean anything. Now, if you're listening and considering going no contact, you might be thinking, well, what will people say? What will my family think? And the biggest one, what if I regret it? Now, let me address these concerns because I truly had all of them as well. First, people are always going to have opinions on your life, no matter what you do. You will never please everyone. You will never make decisions that people want you to, if that makes sense. They'll never understand your decision if they've never walked a day in your shoes. If they have such a great relationship with their family, they're never going to understand. And that's okay. Unless they've lived with that toxic parent or a toxic parent, they don't understand the reality of what drove you to make that drastic decision. You don't owe anything to anyone. You don't owe an explanation. You don't owe anyone an explanation for choosing your mental health and putting yourself first for once. And sometimes family members take sides. Some might try to guilt you into reconciling. Others might surprise you with your support. But here's the thing. The people who truly love you, they want the best for you. They want you to be safe and healthy, even if they don't understand your decision. And regret? After 13 years, I can honestly say I have never regretted my decision. The longer I've been no contact, I have really thought more and more about how at 19 years old, I made the biggest decision truly of my life. And I am proud of that 19-year-old version of myself. And if you've made that decision to go no contact, I want you to be proud of yourself too. It is not easy. Not everyone can do it. And that's why people push back, because they don't understand it. They go, well, my mom's pretty toxic, but whatever, she's my mother. They go on living their life, their mom controlling their decisions and making them feel crazy. But you said, I'm not doing this anymore. I deserve better. And if you're a mother like me, you've gone, okay, my kids deserve better too. And that's an even bigger decision. So, I'm proud of you for that. And if you're in a similar situation right now and you're trying to heal, I want to give you some practical steps you can take right now. And this is truly things that I found helped myself. I'm not a therapist. I'm just a person who's lived this struggle, who's done the work to heal as best as I can. But I'm not perfect, and no one is. Maybe things I've done aren't the way for you to do it. Maybe writing letters aren't going to help you. But all I could say is for the people that are at wit's end, like, what can I do to feel better? These are things I've done, and hopefully they could help you. I want you to first stop pushing everything down inside. I know sometimes that's the easiest method, but writing letters, that has truly helped me more than you'll ever know. Writing those letters that you know you won't send, being able to truly express how they hurt you and how you feel without worrying about being nice or fair or anyone seeing it. This is your space to feel everything. This is your time to have that conversation you'll never have in real life. And next, I want you to find your support system, whether that's a therapist, a support group, trusted friends, maybe online communities. You need people who understand what you're going through. The worst feeling is to feel alone in this journey. And you're not alone. Absolutely not alone. There are more people who go no contact than you'll ever know. And this is the most important step. Please be patient with yourself. Healing isn't linear. Some days will be harder than others. Some days you're gonna miss them. And you know what? That's normal. Missing someone doesn't mean you made the wrong choice. And missing them doesn't mean you're taking steps back in your journey. Every day is different. And everyone's healing is on their own timeline. And that's the biggest thing for me personally. I was like, wow, this took me a decade to get to where I am. But some people, maybe 2 years, maybe 5 years. Everyone is different. And don't ever compare yourself to someone else's journey. Now, I never thought anyone would see my letters. I'm not saying you have to share your letters, but I did. They were just for me. They were my way of healing. But I decided when I was writing my book, I Was Once the Girl in the Red House, that I wanted to include a chapter called Letters to My Mother. And I put some of my letters in there. And that is actually the most popular chapter that people talk to me about, is that chapter. And that is truly my hardest chapter to read because of how raw and emotional I was in those moments. But sharing them has helped many people realize that they're not alone in their pain. I've received messages from readers who said that seeing my letters gave them permission to write their own, or it helped them feel less crazy for having such intense feelings about their parents, and it gave them permission to feel angry. That has been the hugest thing, is most people are told, you're going to be sad, of course, but no one talks about that anger you feel when you realize everything that your family member has done. And I want you to give yourself permission to feel that anger. And that is why I included those letters, so that people could see the raw part of healing. To see that healing is not black and white. It is not easy. And it's not pretty at all. I never wanted anyone to think that my healing journey was beautiful, this beautiful journey that one day I woke up and I felt better. Because that's not true. And I never wanted to essentially gaslight anyone into thinking that. If you're listening to this and you're in a toxic family situation, I want you to know something. I want you to know that you're not alone. You're not crazy. And your feelings are extremely valid. You are allowed to choose peace over chaos. You are worthy of love that doesn't come with conditions. And you have every right to protect your mental health, even from family members. And if going no contact is what you need to do, that doesn't make you weak or selfish or ungrateful. It makes you strong. It makes you someone who values their own well-being enough to make hard choices. It makes you brave. Here's something I've learned after all these years. Going no contact with a toxic parent. Like I said before, it's not just about protecting yourself. I'm a mom. I have children to protect. And if you have children or you plan to have children, you're also breaking that generational cycle. You're saying this stops with me. And that is truly my motto. It ends with me. My children will never have to walk on eggshells around my mother. They'll never have to witness me being treated poorly and wonder if that's normal. And they're growing up seeing what healthy boundaries look like. I didn't know it at the time, but 19-year-old me gave my children the best gift of all. I gave this gift to myself, but to also future generations of my family, not even just my children. I want to leave you with this. Your voice matters. Your pain is very valid. And sometimes the most powerful conversations are the ones no one has to hear. Whether you're writing unsent letters, considering going no contact, or you're just trying to figure out how to heal from family trauma, please remember that you're not broken. You're not unfixable. I found healing through my own words, and I believe anyone can do the same. The path to healing isn't always the one that makes others comfortable. Sometimes it's the one that makes you free. If you want to see examples of how to write these healing letters, or you want to read more about my no contact journey and healing process, you could find my full story in my book, I Was Once the Girl in the Red House, which is available now on Amazon. I will have the link in the show notes. It shares how I broke free from generational trauma, and I chose healing over hoping. Thank you for listening today and letting me share this piece of my heart with you. Remember, you have the right to choose peace. You have the right to protect your well-being. And you are so much stronger than you know or even give yourself credit for. Until next time, keep writing your own story. Your healing matters. Your story matters. And you matter. Thank you for listening to Beyond the Red House. If you have a story to share or want to connect, email me at hello@kaylavalterno.com. Visit kaylavalterno.com for my book and resources to support your healing journey. Everything will be in the show notes. Keep building beyond whatever tried to break you. You are stronger than you know. This is Beyond the Red House.